Guy Coates. My IG, my Instagram is Guy So Icy. The reason why I chose the name Guy So Icy, first of all, my name is Guy. And the So Icy part, it actually comes from, they call ice diamonds. And when you make a diamond, it has to go through some processes. It starts off as cold, it has to get beat up, cut, pressure wash, and then it becomes that thing that you can put on the shelf. So when it comes to my cuts and life in general, I believe that we all have to go through a process. The cuts, they have to go through a process. It starts off looking like coal. It starts off looking like nothing, right? It doesn't look like that thing that you can buy. It doesn't look like something that's worth anything. But you go through that process, the cuts. Everybody wants to be a diamond, but nobody wants to get cut. But in a barbershop, you have to get cut to become that diamond at the end. In life, you have to go through the cuts, the bruises, the pressure in life to actually become that diamond at the end. So that's what God So Icy stands for. I've been cutting hair for over 20 years. I started when I was 15 years old. Actually, my father told me to cut my own hair simply because I asked him to give me a better shape up. He actually was giving us the stair-step shape up. Everybody in school was getting the little points, the icicles, and I was like, Pops, you gotta give us the icicles. I mean, it's hot right now. He was like, cut it yourself. So, it took me no time to go ahead and pick them clippers up, started cutting my own hair. And I definitely messed up, but I didn't mess up the shape up. But I did mess up that crown in the back of the head, put the bald spot right there a couple of times, got talked about in school, but I didn't really care because, I was cutting my own hair. I said, so what? I cut it myself. But here I am now, one of the highest barbers in the DMV, and I can honestly say the world for real. I can honestly say that what makes me original as a barber is simply because I'm me. There can only be one you. I don't want to be anybody else. It's a lot of barbers in the industry. All the barbers are hot, really. Everybody that's great, they're great. They're great being them, but they can't be me. And I don't want to be them. So you're always going to be great at being yourself. That's how you become, the perfect example or perfect specimen of yourself. So I'm not aiming to be like anybody else. It's a lot of different posts on Instagram. There's a lot of barbers on Instagram. But one thing that I figured out is, you have your own platoon. You have your own army. You have your own set of people that's designated to you, that is looking for you, that are looking to you to actually, bring them up or cut their hair, And I honestly thought about, this question the other day, like, what makes me so special? What sets me aside from everybody else? But the answer is there's only one you. Can't nobody do you like you do you. That's how I answer that question. Well, what kept me behind the chair? What kept me holding the clippers? That's a crazy question because I actually left from behind the chair at one point in time. I had came to work one day and my son had left a letter on my station. I didn't know it was a letter at the time. I thought it was a piece of trash. I went to go throw this piece of trash in the trash, but something told me to open this letter up. It told me to open this paper up, and it was a letter from my son saying, "Dear Daddy, I want to run away. I hate living in this prison. You don't pay me any attention. P.S. You probably don't know my favorite color." And this was coming from a son that I was raised since the age of 1. At this time, he was 7. That led me to believe that I had to do something greater to be able to get home to my son, spend more time with him, because he felt as though I wasn't there. I was always at work, always cutting hair, and I wanted to be able to get back to my son so he can actually see that I was actually there. So I got myself into marketing really heavy. Got into marketing and business. I wanted to create some residual income to be able to back from behind the chair. But I wound up finding myself not being in that industry long. I stayed in that industry long enough to learn marketing, to learn business, to learn how to become an entrepreneur, which is why I call myself a barberpreneur now. But I'm back in the barber industry now, and I'm turning my business into a business because that's what it is. And now I'm thinking I have a crazy dream to be able to build something that I can leave my children. And it's not just going to be behind the chair all the time, but it's called beyond the chair. Because I want to be able to, spend time with my family, because that is really what's important. but I want to leave something to the game that's going to be able to help other people be able to do the same thing. Because I believe a lot of people love and they have a passion that's in this industry to cut hair or to do hair, but they like enjoying their family too. You know, they want to be able to enjoy their time too. So Beyond the Chair, that's coming soon, y'all. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that now, but stay tuned. Alright, so one thing that I can tell all up and coming barbers is to be you. Be true to who you are, be true to yourself, because that's one thing that you don't want to do is compare yourself to other people, comparing yourself to other barbers. You have to be yourself. You're going to go through ups and downs, that don't matter. Get up and keep going. That's life. It's going to happen, but you want to get up and keep going. You're going to go through, you know what I'm saying, the nagging clients. You're going to go through, you know, cuts on somebody's head, you know, cutting the skin. You know, all of this stuff is going to happen, but at the end of the day, that was the one time. Learn from the mistake, come back, do it over, do it again. You know, you get better and better at your craft. One of the things that keeps me going in this industry, one of the things that gets me up early to the barbershop, you know, staying late, you know, going that extra mile when I'm in there. It's not just about, you know, cutting hair, but how do you contribute to the group of guys that you're around? How do you contribute to the shop and the environment that you work in? One of those things that keeps me going or keeps the drive going is you have to have a strong why. You have to have a reason why you're doing it. You're not just doing it for the money. The money, I'm trying to tell you right now, don't just do it for the money. If you do it for a stronger reason, something that's attached to your heart, you know, like I do it for my children and for my family. If you don't know, I have 9 children and a wife, you know, and a grandchild. So I can't quit, you know what I mean? I am Guy Coates, Guy So Icy on Instagram, and that was my 7 minutes.